This is my videos that are unlisted or not public. So I guess I can talk about that weird part, which I already spoke about it a bit on Trash Taste. This is a long story. Okay.
Here we go again.
From the very first time where I started making YouTube videos, I had this plan, I had this drive that I wanted to make this work. So my thought process was like, I think the way forward by having someone who could also voice the other characters in Black Belt. I was reached out to, who went by the name CL, and they called themselves CL, and they were like super fucking into this role. But at the time I was like, I don't give a I never really spoke to them outside of recording. I could just have them in the video. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? And you know, and then my channel was doing a lot better than theirs because I was really on that grind, right? And so the CL person was like, hey, can you start paying me? And I was like, what? What? And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I just stopped making videos with them. I was like, I'm not gonna pay you. What the f? Like, we both do the same thing. We both benefit from this. And yeah, and that was it for like 2-3 years. Didn't work with them. So like 3 years later, they were like obsessed with London because obviously obsessed with CL. They were like, oh, let's like hang out. And I was like, I mean, I feel like it was the least obligation because we'd done so much work together at one point. I turn up and it's just like, they're there. And then they have like their friend with them and the friend just doesn't say anything. I remember I asked them, I was like, you look really like young. How old are you? They were like, oh, I'm like 17. And I'm like, you can fly when you're 17? And they were like, oh no, it's like, you know, you're allowed to fly with the parental like guardianship. And I was like, what the And then that's when I was like really weirded out. I made up some excuse about why I needed to leave because I was like, this is just weird. And then 2 years later, I get like a DM. Oh, by the way, this person's been arrested. Bear in mind, this person was like a pusher. Like in my mind, they were just a fucking loser. I didn't think they were capable of doing anything. And so then I see on this charges, it's like 2 or 3 charges of like molestation of like minors. And so I'm freaking the f out. I felt so guilty that me working with this guy probably like helped because, you know, I was the one putting in all the grind. I was the one making all the videos and I still feel guilty about it. It was like horrifying to find out that like someone who you knew would be capable of doing something like that. So I just privated all of them because I just didn't want any of them up. And it sucked because like at this time, I really can't like stress how bad doing that really put me in a kind of a really bad financial situation because I pretty much at the time privated like more than half of my entire videos. And this is the time where I was like really needing the money. At the end of the day, I knew I was going to be okay. I was pretty confident that I could bounce back from it, but it was at the time, it was just like, it just felt like my world was like collapsing. It was so bad. It really made me not want to make anything. It just sucked. It just sucked so much. I'd put so much work in and it was kind of just taken away from me because this person was a giant piece of shit. I'm really glad I made that decision looking back. I think I definitely did the right thing. Yeah, and there was a lot. So like, let me show you. There's like 1, 2, 3, 10, 11. Like it's literally my entire early backlog.